Hi everyone, this is Cloud Dragon Podcast, and today I'm going to show you how you could safely allocate AWS saving plans using Tetris approach. If you don't know what AWS savings plans are, it's a committed usage discount. So I could say that I will spend $1,000 on AWS in 1 year, so they could give me a discount on this $1,000 for using EC2, Lambda, Fargate, or similar services. Here's an example for R7G family that in 1 year, if I commit to 1 year of usage, I could get 28% discount, and in 3 years I could get 48% discounts. It's pretty heavy discounts, and I don't have to change any of my infrastructure. For example, instead of implementing some spot instances architecture, which is kind of not always reliable and stuff like that, I could just commit to 1 or 3 years usage and get comparable savings without actually doing anything. It's very cool, except one thing: variability in costs. So I don't know in advance how much money company is going to spend on EC2. Imagine I commit somewhere here to all this usage that I have. And if I commit here for, let's say, 3 years, this is where I'm going to get a discount, and this is where I'm just going to pay for something that I don't actually use if the costs are going here, for example. And if the business continues to grow, I would get the savings, but still this area, if the costs are going to go here, this area is not going to be covered. As you see here, any scenario other than static costs that, AWS costs that equal every month, this approach is not working great. It's always going to be suboptimal. It's a really problem because you don't know in advance what your AWS costs would be, because the business may grow. Maybe management going to decide to migrate out of AWS, and no manager wants to commit to something that imagine you committed to AWS in 3 years. Now AWS, you're just bound to it. You can't make any decisions of migrating out, or even negotiations are hard when you know that, when everybody knows you committed to 3 years of AWS usage. So it makes everything complicated. So there is one approach that actually can help you with this problem, and I call it Tetris approach. Imagine I don't know what the past company costs were, and I know nothing about the future. I just see that right now we're spending this amount of money. And in such unknown situations, how could I commit to a certain usage? But in reality, I can. I could just, let's say, cover up 30% of the costs here. 30 or maybe 25, whatever amount you like, but not more than 50 for sure. And I just wait for 1 quarter. And for example, the costs are rising. Okay, now I could commit more. I could just go and buy more savings plans. As these savings plans goes down, like in Tetris, that's why I call it the Tetris approach. And I just, wait a bit more. And for example, the costs go down for some reason, and I see costs down, I don't want to buy more reservations. Maybe here the cost goes up, and I'm okay, we're again growing, so I could buy more reservations here. I buy more reservations, savings plans. By the way, you could use the same approach for reservations too. It's just savings plans are more flexible because you could buy any type of instances, and reservations are fixed for a certain instance type. So for savings plans, this approach matches for savings plans better than for reservations. So I decided to buy more capacity, and let's say for now the price is kind of constant. So I could just continue committing to a usage. Now, as the past reservations expire, I could replace them with the new ones. And with this approach, I have a constant amount of savings plans applied every quarter. And now imagine I've bought these savings plans, and for some reason the management decides, we're going to shut down business with AWS. We found some cheaper hosting, whatever, or we're moving to Azure or Google Cloud, I don't know, and they decided to cut down the cost, and the cost goes down. And as the cost goes down, we're migrating out. I'm not going to purchase any more savings plans. So now you could see that with such dynamic flow of AWS costs, I was able to cover like 80% of the chart, and for 80% of the chart I get like I don't know, 28% discount. So in total, for all EC2 usage, I got 22% discount without risking too much. As you see here, I always have an option to not to continue to use AWS and stop using it. And when I stop buying more savings plans, they just expire one after one. And the reason why it works here is because there is an assumption that your costs are not going to jump more than down or up more than 25% a quarter. Like if I buy 25% reservation every quarter I could make a decision if I prolong the reservations that was had expired before, or I buy even more reservations. So every quarter I could make a decision for 25% of my AWS costs. And if my AWS costs don't change like 25% a quarter, more than 25% a quarter, I could cover almost kind of the big part of the of EC2 costs without being afraid that for some reason management will decide to do like such a migration out of AWS. And if you buy it even more frequently, let's say on a monthly basis, you would have even more options to cover this chart, because your squares are going to be like smaller, and you would be able to match this. You would be able to match this shape even better. You are not limited to 25% or 22% discount, because you could even push this further. You could, if you know that your business is a big company and it's physically would be impossible to migrate out of AWS like in a few years period, you could also mix in 3 years reservations here. Here is an example where I buy 3 years reservations, let's say on a half a year basis or on a yearly basis, and the rest of the stuff I just cover with 1 year reservations, 1 year savings plans. Based on example I've shown previously. In this case, I'm not only getting the discount on this part of the chart, I get the double discount on this part of the chart that is more constant. So I could get even more discounts in such approach, again with not that much of a risks, because even if, let's say, at some point of time the management decided we're just going to ditch this stuff down, depending on the size of the company, if the company is big, it's going to take quite of time to migrate out. So you will not end up buying a 3 years reservation or savings plans, and then 1 month later realize that you have to pay for it even though you are not going to use it. Here, with such incremental purchase, you have an approach to always not to prolong a previously bought reservation and have an option to scale your reservation commitment down. That's all I wanted to say in this episode. I hope this approach of buying AWS savings plans with Tetris were useful to you, and I hope they will save you a lot of money. See you in future episodes. Bye.